was saying, the why, then you obviously are going to be looking at not only the formal cause, what makes something the way it is. A formal cause is what is the form of the thing itself that you're looking at. What's the formal cause of a giraffe? Giraffeness. It's that simple. You understand? I mean, it's just that simple. The material cause is I don't want to get in that because it's not the material that the giraffe is made out of. It's the actual fact that it exists right in front of you. It's not that it either can exist or not exist, but it exists, therefore it has a material cause. The efficient cause is the two giraffe parents got together and had this little giraffe. Right? The final cause, we have no idea how a giraffe ends up. We assume that it gets down into the dust and it fertilizes the soil where it drops, right?
With its giraffeness.
With its giraffeness, yes, thanks, Dan. But as Bill is pointing out, if you do a why, then you come up with you absolutely have to have the formal cause, first of all, what it is, and then why, what's happening down the line here, and that's the final cause. And the final cause for us, Christians, is happiness, and the happiness with a capital H means life with God. Okay. Now, you're asking way too many good questions. Okay, we're going to have to go at warp speed now. If we don't get through some of this stuff, we're going to do it next week. By the way, everybody be reminded, 31st of October, we're not meeting.
Yeah.
Halloween. And so we'll be meeting the week after that. And then, hopefully, if you come back, you'll be seeing the 2-hour documentary on John Paul II. I recommend that highly, although you obviously don't have to come. But if you bring popcorn and stuff, cookies, we can have a really good time.
We'll have a fun.
Okay. Now let's go to XXV, okay? 25. First full paragraph. One of the main goals of theology of the body is the defense of Paul VI's prophetic encyclical Humanae Vitae. The defense must be seen in the context of John Paul II's defense of the ordinary human experience of love and its reasonableness. The teaching of Humanae Vitae, as John Paul II understands it, is based on the spousal meaning of the human body, that is, on the God-given power of the body to be a sign of the radical gift of self between man and woman. Now, we're still with Schoenborn, right? Okay. Then he goes and he says, now, John Paul II came up with 3 new striking theses. And these are, make note of these. This is the next paragraph, about 4 lines down. Allow me to mention, he says, 3 of his striking theses. The image, for the first one, the image of God is found in man and woman above all in the communion of love between them, which reflects the communion of love between the persons of the Trinity. Now that's a big, big, big point. Number 2, in God's design, the spousal union of man and woman is the original effective sign through which holiness entered the world. Isn't that interesting? Number 3, this visible sign of marriage in the beginning is connected with the visible sign of Christ's spousal love for the church and is thus the foundation of the whole sacramental order.
Why? How do you relate that to?
It says it right in the thing. In other words, see, John Paul II is looking at the sacrament of marriage as a primordial sacrament. It's in the mind of God right from the beginning. You see what I'm saying?
Create.
Yes. And the highlight of creation is man and woman. Right? So when they come together, right, that's really then the sign. When we get further into the theology of the body, that is going to be the paradigm of the self-giftedness within the Trinity itself. Okay, now we go to the very first page of the introduction.
Could I make a comment
Yes.
on number 3 quickly?
Sure.
This may address your question. I spent some time thinking about that too. The spousal love for the church. And we've talked about this. Just as Christ gave church, which is as a spouse of Christ. Then I thought about the sacramental order, and that's almost like the begetting of children, because it is through the sacraments that the grace of God comes to us to make us children of God.
Very good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Very well put. May I add a sentence or two?
Yes.
All right.
please.
When we're dealing with, we're gonna find out that obviously we already know that Jesus is the bridegroom, okay? We're the bride, right? Okay? As the bridegroom, he gives everything he has to his bride, does he not? And we then can respond or not respond. That true? If we respond, then obviously we're getting into the reality that we were called to get into in the first place. When Father runs his parish, Father is the bridegroom of that parish. Pardon me for butting into your parish, your father. But as a priest of that parish, as the
Traditionally, we say that the priest marries the church.
yes. But in a sense, specifically for you, just in your parish, as persona Christi, of course, it's the whole shebang. But in the parish, in a sense, you specifically are the bridegroom and your parish is the bride. And the bride can sit there and say, yes, the love and the truth that I see in Father, that's what I'm going to respond to.
Hopefully.
So it's not just a metaphor. We're actually talking about a reality here. I used to think it was just a metaphor, but I don't think that anymore. Right? Thank you, Jerry. Now, let's go to page 1. Now, interestingly, where am I here? For those of you who came in late, I left my notes at home, and I don't believe I did that. This must be, I think it's decrepitude, something like that. And I don't even know how to spell that. Judy looked that up, will you? So I know how to spell that. Okay, but Michael Wallstein brings in Margaret Sanger right off the bat. Isn't that interesting? Why does he do that? Well, he does that because Margaret Sanger is looking for the same kind of fulfillment individually as is John Paul II. There's a huge difference, though. They want the same end result, but they've got two methods of going about it that are absolutely diametrically opposed. Okay? What Margaret Sanger is doing is, in a sense, looking at the biological order and seeing what she can do with that and how she can manipulate that in order to free women. What John Paul II is doing is saying, what we do is we accept the order here, and if we accept it, we realize that the only way we can be free is